The carbon farming market is a really unique space, and carbon farming is evolving at a rapid rate. When looking at our enterprises with a carbon lens or a natural capital lens, does that change how we manage these landscapes? Can it make it more profitable? Can it make it so that the farming systems here are productive and sustainable into the future?
My name's Tim Lutcraft and I farm with my wife Christy and 4 children in the Oro district. We chose to focus on our Ridgeview property for the carbon project, which is 4,000 acres of mixed farming. Our soils here at Ridgeview are heavy clay, sodic soils, and combined with variable rainfall makes it quite hard to establish crops. The variability is quite extreme. When it's good, it's really good, but when it's bad, we might go through 4 years of not generating any income. So focusing on a more grazing-based business, we're hoping to just iron out our income stream a little bit.
The property here at Lutcrafts is representative of a large area across our landscape. Saltbush and bluebush dominant ecosystems with Acacia victoria have a high diversity of plant species, a really high diversity of bird species in comparison to a lot of the landscape around us. So they have a really vital part to play in our ecosystem health, but they also play a really important part in our production systems. Because of the diversity of species, they have a high value as a feed source, particularly if managed well. And so if we can manage these landscapes to retain the palatable species or to re-establish the palatable species, then we can significantly increase the production capacity of these sites.
We built a set of containment yards at Ridgeview to hold all the sheep in dry times, help put a bit of extra weight on lambs if need be, if we can't finish them in the paddock. And unfortunately, since 2017, we've had to use it every year. What the carbon project has highlighted, it shows that there would be a big benefit from rotational grazing in this environment. Our current grazing practices at Ridgeview are set stocking. The sheep just target the most palatable species first and graze them out. What Christy and I are trying to achieve here is to fence the property up into more manageable sized paddocks so we can control the grazing pressure better. Perennial shrubs and grasses actually do quite well here. So we're hoping to increase the perennial pasture base to utilise rainfall better and to give the sheep a more diverse choice of pasture to graze. We currently have a 30 hectare paddock that's been direct seeded and fenced off from livestock. That's been fenced off for 2 years and the results in that paddock are looking really promising.
The aim being to put some species back into this landscape that have been lost from past management and improve the productivity and profitability of this grazing enterprise while also bolstering the natural capital of this site. By increasing the ground cover, we also work to increase the soil carbon, and that was one of the things that was flagged through this investigation, that the soil carbon in this site is significantly lower than the region average. So there is quite a lot of potential there to increase that soil carbon and therefore increase the water holding capacity, the ability for species to be more resilient in drier periods, and ultimately improve the carbon account for this site as well.
So there's been lots of studies that have shown that having additional vegetation on farm will give you benefits in the form of ecosystem services. That's things like wind breaks, predatory services that are given by birds and insects to pests, things like pollination of crops. Landowners often think that more trees means that there will be less water available for things such as pastures and crops. What studies have found is that in the near vicinity of trees, there's often a small area where pastures, etc., won't grow as well. But then there's a larger area beyond where, because of the shelter that's given by the trees, soil moisture stays in the soil for longer and you get better growth of pasture and crops in that zone.
We also lease my family's property off my dad. That property's actually fairly special to me because it's where my interest in wildlife first started. I remember doing water runs with my dad and spending most of the time counting bird nests. Now when I'm taking my own kids on water runs, they're always getting me to stop and look at bird nests, and watching my own kids do the same thing now gives me great satisfaction that they share the same interests.
Something that we've learned from working with producers in low rainfall areas, you can still build a project that is worthwhile in terms of the carbon revenue and also the benefits it gives in terms of your production. When you add these two things together, it can definitely make a viable project for owners of land in low rainfall areas.
For us, if we could establish a property that provides a growing habitat for our native birds and wildlife and provides good shelter for our livestock, then that would be a great result for us.